what I wanted to start with was I wanted to yield some time to really appreciate the amount of impact that these four individuals have had, and I know will continue to have. Can you guys give it up for them? Show them some love. I'm really blessed to do what I do. I've been doing it since 2005. But one of the really interesting things is I get the opportunity to meet folks like Akia and Jess and Javier and Kevin and know them, and not just know who they are, they know who I am. And if I ask them, you know, hey, would you like to come in and speak to this group? They're not like, oh, well, how long would I do? Sure, let's do it, right? So not only do I get to do this for a living with the CYP Club, we are part of a community that's very accessible. It's not always 100% accessible. People lead their lives. We have things to do. But when you're talking about something like Place and Purpose and the things that we do with the Columbus Young Professionals Club, we have a lot of really great support. And we have a lot of really amazing people that are here in this community. And four of them took time out of their day to be here as well as you did. But they're doing all these really awesome things. And we're all connected. We're all linked because of the care that we have for the community. The fact that we've kind of, even as Javier is saying, I believe the same, we're still work in progress, but we're really on the path for our place and purpose. When I moved to Columbus, I knew one person. I'm not originally from here. Talk about the New York connection. When I first moved to Columbus, I knew one person. I knew him from college. He wasn't from Columbus either. And I always jokingly say that I didn't grow up here and I didn't go to Ohio State, so I better do something good because I already have 2 strikes against me. It's kind of like why I started the CYP Club. But the reality was I was looking for my sense of place and purpose. I lived in New York. I've got lots of family there. I lived in DC. I didn't find that was really my place. I knew that I enjoyed living there. I got my undergraduate. I made some phenomenal connections and friends. But it was just not my place. I knew that I just didn't want to be there eventually. And at the time, I was a few years out of college, and I was studying entrepreneurship, and I was wanting to do my own thing. So I talked to my friend he grew up in California, and I grew up in New York, so I was like, oh, cool, let's meet in the middle, right? And he and I were chit-chatting about, you know, just what he's up to, and he was telling me that he was getting this new job. He was planning to move here, and we were talking about maybe going to business together. And so he said to me, well, why don't you look at Columbus as a place to move and a place to, and I'm pretty sure that I said to him, where's Columbus? You know, like, I have that kind of New Yorker view of the world, and it's kind of like, you know, here's Fifth Avenue, and then here's Broadway, and then it's like, there's New Jersey, and then, okay, there's Pennsylvania, so there's some trees, and then there's Chicago, and then there's some mountains, and then, oh, it's the Pacific Ocean. Like, that's kind of the view of the United States that a lot of New Yorkers have, right? So moving to Columbus was a very humbling experience for me, but also I knew that this is a type of city that I wanted to be a part of, because as I'm meeting people, my first day here, I went around and I just explored. I happened to meet someone whose name was Derek. I happened to leave my wallet. This wasn't like me trying to get free stuff. I happened to leave my wallet in a car, went to a coffee shop, and I had already ordered, and I said, oh, let me go back to my car. I left my wallet, and let me go. And he says, you're new to Columbus? This is your first day? Yeah, the coffee's on me. And I was just like, well, that could happen in a lot of places, but that was just very, very cool and very telling about the city and the region and the people. So I was on a path really to kind of develop what my purpose was. And I believe that, you know, when you're in your 20s, you're trying to figure yourself out. And when you get into your 30s, you're really trying to find out what you're here for, so that you can develop the opportunities and relationships with other people. I mean, when you're younger than 20, you're just a kid. You're still with your parents. You're in college. So, and I can say this now because I just clicked over to age 40, so I've got a little bit more perspective on it now. But as I look ahead at my purpose and what I've done with the CYP Club, and the fact that we've been able to connect and develop all these wonderful events and programs and individuals like yourselves to one another, it's really cool because I've been invited to a couple of weddings. And I know that people have made really great connections. I know that people have been able to find their sense of place and purpose. even if it's, hey, I didn't know this restaurant existed and now I do, or oh, I met my very best friends through some of your events. That's really what we're all about. And now, as I look ahead at what I'm continuing to want to do, I want to be more of a provider. I've got a family, I've got a daughter, and I want them to look up to me, and I want to look up to them, and I want to say, these are the things that I'm able to do, so that when I'm not here, it's not just about, I spent a lot of time doing really cool things in business, and I was able to do some really interesting things. I want to make sure that it made sense. And so as we're all talking here about our place and our sense of purpose, I want you all to obviously think about the things that you're here for, not just in this academy in this city, but, and not to get really, really deep, but what are the things that you want to get out of life? My dad had always told me, because I've always kind of been like this, where I've been involved in a lot of things. I've got a lot of friends, or at least I'm very friendly with a lot of people. I had friends in sports, I had friends in theater, I had friends in the band, I had people who I grew up with, I had people who I played city baseball with. And so all these people that I was trying to bring together as a connector, that was my purpose. And I was also a middle child, so I'm always bringing people together.
Yeah.
But ultimately he said, you only have so many hours in a day. You can't do everything. So essentially make it count. Make the hours that you have, the minutes that you have, make it count, create a sense of purpose. And so I really appreciate you all being here. This is something that, Maggie and I and Sarah, and a lot of folks who you work with have made this possible. But ultimately, this Impact Academy is something that I've been tinkering with for a number of years, and it was something where I said I wanted to get beyond. The events are great, the membership is growing. We're continuing to do really awesome things with the CYP Club, and I'm so proud of it. But sometimes you also are looking ahead and you're saying, what's next? How can we evolve? How can we do more? And that's really where this organization and this academy came from. So with that, I want to say thanks, Maggie, for putting this all on. Thank you all again for being a part of this, and thank you guys for giving your time. I know we have some refreshments, and we'll talk about that, but Maggie's got her one question. I'm trying to kind of avoid it. No,
I said just wait. Don't leave for the refreshments yet. They're waiting for you, though.
But thank you so much.
Yes, thank you all. Does anybody have any questions for Derek at all about place, purpose?
Sorry, I was kind of going over here. This way. You don't
No?
have any questions? Why isn't he looking at me?
No, it's okay. All right, give Derek a round of applause.